Alright, so we learned how to solve a basic absolute value equation using our 2 bars 2 equation strategy, breaking it into 2 pieces. And in this video, we're going to talk about slightly more complicated examples where the absolute value, there's more going on in the problem. If you look at this problem right here, there's a lot more pieces to it than there were in the other problems. This is kind of an important point that I want you guys to write down. Before you can do 2 bars 2 equations, or before you can solve the absolute value equation, the absolute value has to be by itself, or it has to be isolated. That's an important point. You have to get that absolute value by itself before you can actually go and do the problem. So write that down. I'm going to go ahead and erase that so I have a little room to work. But that is kind of the key to this video. So, with that being said, we understand we have to get the absolute value by itself. That's what our goal is going to be. And the first thing that I will see kids try to do on these problems is they'll see, oh, there's a 2 out here. You just kind of get in the habit of, with parentheses you distribute in. People will try doing that. Another important note that I want you guys to write down, going along with this, you can't distribute into an absolute value. I probably should have made myself a little room so I could keep these notes on the paper, but definitely write these in your notes. You can't distribute into an absolute value. Okay, so we are not allowed to put that 2 into both parts there. I'm going to erase this note as well, so pause it if you still need it. So we're kind of in a tough situation here. We need to solve this thing, which means getting the absolute value by itself, but it's like, how do you go about doing that? It's kind of frustrating in the sense that some of you guys may not be sure what to do at this point. Notice this problem right here. I took, in pink over here, I wrote down a problem that hopefully you can see the similarity between. I still have a 2 out front, and this means 2 times the absolute value, minus 5. So what 2 times a variable minus 5 equals 15? They're almost identical problems, except instead of writing the absolute value, I just wrote like a giant variable right here, a giant Q. So we're pretending if this was a giant Q right here, we'd basically be looking at this, if it was just a variable. So, if we want to get this Q by itself, same thing as the absolute value, normally, this is a problem you guys would be able to do almost in your sleep by now. You would add the 5, you'd divide by 2. That's exactly what's going to happen over here. Treat this absolute value like a giant variable, and just get it by itself. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides of my equation. When I do that, these are going to cancel. I'll get 2, and then my absolute value equals 20. And from there, I want to get rid of this 2. Can't distribute in. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Just like on this one, you add the 5, you get 2q equals 20. You would divide by 2. Same exact deal. So you get this absolute value of 3x plus 1 equals 10. And once you hit this point, it's just like the last video now. You're going to do your 2 bars of 2 equations, break this guy down, and solve. So my first problem is 3x plus 1 equals 10. And then my second one is 3x plus 1 equals negative 10. And I just have to solve both of these problems for x. Going through the math a little fast here, but these should be your 2 answers. And I'm going to leave that as a fraction there, but those are your solutions. You can plug them back in to check them, but I'm not going to do that in this video. 2 more examples here. If you want, go ahead and pause the video, try these out, see how you do. I'm going to walk us through them though. Same setup as before. Get the absolute value by itself. Subtract 10, subtract 10. You get negative 3 times absolute value x plus 4 equals 30. Divide by negative 3 to get the absolute value by itself. You end up with absolute value of x plus 4 equals negative 10. And if you're not careful, you'll go and do 2 bars 2 equations, you'll get answers, put them in air quotes there. They don't actually work, because we have an absolute value equal to a negative. That's bad, that does not make sense. This problem has no solution. Absolute values cannot equal negative numbers. So, last problem on the video here. Looks a little more complicated perhaps, but it's the same sort of idea. I'm going to go ahead and add 28 to both sides. I get just my absolute value, 5 minus 2x, equals 6. Oops, forgot my over 4. I'm dividing by 4 right here, so I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. To cancel that out, these go away. I end up with absolute value 5 minus 2x equals 24. I have an absolute value equal to a positive, which is a good thing. Now I'm just going to solve it. So when I break it down into two pieces, remember, inside stays exactly the same. Do not change it. Only thing that changes is your answer. 5 minus 2x equals negative 24. Only thing that changes is the answer. Leave that inside the same as it looked up there. So now I'm just going to go quickly and solve both of these problems. This one's going to be negative 19 over 2, which is negative 9.5 if you want to do a decimal. And over here, I believe you're going to end up with 29 over 2, or 14.5 as a decimal. And those are your two solutions.